Wonderful. Welcome, Forrest. Thank you so much for meeting with us.
Hi, Ariel. How are you?
I'm good. So I'm curious, because of your upbringing in Zimbabwe, would you be willing to share your experience with us in childhood that solidified this career? Like what happened that made you go wildlife, biology? That's it. That's what I want.
Good question. Look, I mean, I think it's very easy to point the finger at my upbringing, but my sister works in fashion and she grew up the same way I did, right? So I don't think I think it was just something that I was born into. Grew up in Zimbabwe. My family ran safari businesses, and I've just been around wildlife my entire life. But as I got older, I started to see wild places that I grew up loving disappearing, getting clear cut, diminishing. Animals that I knew by individuals disappearing from environments and habitats. And so that just made me want to know more and protect them and learn more. And I grew up in a landlocked country. I grew up in Zimbabwe, which is landlocked. So to pivot all the way to Shark Week and doing all these ocean things, I still remember, and this may be the moment you're looking for, my very first trip to Mozambique with my family, because living in Zimbabwe, that was the nearest ocean. And we pulled up a little tiny fish called a sweet lips. And I was like, I've never seen anything like this in my life. Like, I couldn't believe this beautiful, colorful, tropical fish was about this big. And I was just fascinated by the ocean. And yeah, just the compounding effects of seeing nature diminish and disappear and wanting to know more and more about every single organism has led to this passion and career.
Wonderful. So it sounds like conservation really motivated you.
Conservation is the most important thing to me in the world. And that's why when you look at my shows compared to maybe other shows, it's not just another show about a great white shark eating something or whatever. It's really trying to tell a story of conservation of these rare and unusual species that are hanging on by a thread, and how important it is to protect them and learn about them and understand them. And so, yeah, that's really the through line of my entire life.
This one's pregnant?
Forrest, she's having.
She's also having babies?
She's having babies. She's having
tank,
babies.
in the tank. Yep.
Yep.
This is really, really remarkable. Two giant velvet dogfish that were captured at the same time together, literally one hook after the next. Wow. This really speaks to the fecundancy and the amazing ability for deep water sharks to reproduce. We caught these two magnificent velvet dogfish, these giant deep water alien sharks, and both of them came up at the same time on hooks one after the next. And as we brought them to the table, as Christine can say, they both started giving birth.
Yeah. Look at
this. Look at this. Oh, hello. Look at that first breath. Welcome to the world, little one. Look at that. A perfect velvet dogfish, fully formed. You can see the fins haven't even gone rigid yet. They're just like a newborn human baby when they come out, and they're all squished up and kind of ugly, and then slowly they turn into looking like a real creature. No, they really are. I mean, my son was the worst of them, so I know.
Alien Sharks, Ghosts of Japan, you do explore sharks that are diverse and unique in Japan's waters. So was there anything that was most surprising or challenging for you that you discovered on that expedition that was maybe different than others?
Ariel, the thing that was the most challenging that you can read about, but you don't understand until you're there doing it, was the climatic conditions. Like, we've done shows in the Arctic before that felt like a tropical vacation compared to parts of Japan. Yeah, it was so cold and windy and sort of violent in a way. Like, a lot of us obviously didn't make the show. You only have 44 minutes, but we nearly sunk a boat. We had crazy thunderstorms. It was nuts. And so once we were able to get into the areas we needed to get into, it was fine. Like, we found the sharks, we worked hard, we dove, the water was clear enough, everything was fine. But the climate was fighting us every single step of the way. And that's a little different from, your tropical beaches of Shark Week that you're used to seeing. So I kind of miss the warm, sunny, coconut-laden beaches on this one.
Oh, wow. Yes, I do remember the storms. At least one was shown from my memory. And I would have never guessed Japan waters would be that tumultuous.
And there's a reason behind that, by the way. Japan has such an incredible shark diversity and level of endemism compared to other places in the world, is because of this violent nature of it. Crazy amount of nutrients coming from storms and snowmelt and runoff off of Mount Fuji, this upwelling from the deep sea, these massive winds that make currents. Like, it's this big tumultuous area that allows for such a unique diversity of sharks, but it shows why there's not a lot of like diving tourism there, because it's not easy.
Okay. So really even though the environment can be hostile, it creates a lot of biodiversity.
Correct.
Oh, wonderful. So People of Con is a program that's part of a nonprofit called Geek Therapy, and we focus on blending mental health with people's passions and interests. So would you be able to share, how do you sustain your mental health knowing that you are engaging in potentially dangerous environments and advocating for endangered species?
I think my mental health is much stronger when I am putting myself in hard and difficult situations. I strongly believe, Ariel, the more time you spend focused on something else other than yourself, the better your mental state can be. Like, I feel way happier and more at ease and more comfortable when I'm out in a storm dealing with a shark that's trying to bite my arm off than I do sitting here staring at a computer. Like, I think this is unnatural, right? I think sitting in an office in a home studio and blah, 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 talking to a computer is not what humans are hardwired to do. And that's where a lot of our mental health problems come from. Humans are hardwired to be outside in the elements, fighting the conditions. And I personally feel a lot happier and just generally healthier when I'm out dealing with these things than when I am in the safety and comfort of the modern conveniences.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm definitely hearing you share that falling in love, having a passion, but also being out in nature and being like not just being with yourself, but being experiencing all of those things increase your mental health and your mental fortitude. And actually doing things like sitting in office creates more isolation and disconnection.
So that was a much more eloquent way of saying it than what I said. And yes, I think that's absolutely correct.
Wonderful. Okay, lastly, this is our final question. There's been a fun debate online about which marine animal has this coolest superpower. So there's been conversations around like pistol shrimp having a sonic boom claw and the electric eel having very like shocking powers. Okay. So if you could borrow an animal superpower in your field work, which animal and superpower would it be?
It would be the general intelligence and abilities of an octopus. An octopus is basically an alien creature. It can change the color, texture, and pattern of its skin. It has 9 brains, 1 in each arm, 1 in the center of its being. It can fit into anything up to the size of its beak, which in some cases is tiny. A 6-foot octopus can fit through basically a keyhole. I mean, they are superheroes of the animal kingdom. And I think their overall analysis and understanding of the environment is probably better than ours.
I do remember watching in a documentary that octopus use tools and even bring the tools with them in case they need them in the future. And that shows high intelligence.
How insane is that?
That is wonderful. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Forrest, for talking with me and sharing. We are People of Con. We represent Geek Therapy, where we believe people's passions and fandoms increase their mental health and wellness.